could very well be the Grinchiest Christmas in 10 years. What happened?
You know, the study came up by the Fraser Institute, and Canadians, in general, less people are giving. What's even worse, the people that are giving even less. So it's a double hit to charities at a time when I think the need and the ask has never been greater.
The numbers were something like, of our disposable income in the latest tax reported period, it was something like 0.7% of our overall income. And even that, it's like $1,600 some odd dollars at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I've gone out and done a lot of informal surveys. There's nothing that's research-based, but just asking, pushback's been quite interesting. We'd like to do more, but the government's taxed us. We have no money. Charity begins at the home. I'm barely making the homework was number one I got. The other one was the ask. Everywhere I go, somebody's asking. I'm giving charity all the time, but $2 here, I can't get it at a liquor store. I can't get it at, it's funny, ironic, the liquor store came up a few times. I can't get it at any of these stores without somebody asking for $2 here, $5 there. So they feel they're giving charity, but not in the way they used to, where they would get a tax write-off. So that could be, some of the discrepancy could be that.
Well, the other side of it, too, is that you're at the cash register and you're already thinking about your credit card bill.
Yeah, and the people are maxed out. And they feel they don't like to be publicly shamed. You know, when, hey, would you like to give $5 for sick kids? It's tough, you know, people around to say.
Why think of the children?
Yeah, why say no? You know, the Ebenezer Scrooge comes out. But I think there's a lot of lessons learned for charities. I think they've got to change their game considerably.
So how does a charity convince me to open my wallet when I already feel giving fatigue?
They got to stop telling their story because there's so much of it. It's an abundance. I'm tuning everybody out and start making it about me. I did a sleep out for Covenant House on the street. I slept out in the street. We raised over $1 million. 98% went to people that live on the street. And because I lived the night on the street, I'm personally attached to that charity. I think Alzheimer's, when they had the water bucket challenge, was that Instagram moment where I felt I was actually doing something. And I think you got to let people experience the charity to be personally vested in it.
But the things like the ice bucket challenge, did that really move the needle on donations? Did it really move the needle on understanding, or was it largely just a gimmick?
It was a gimmick for sure. It had no sustainability. It wasn't something like Movember that has legacy and momentum, but it did raise a lot. Nobody really understood ALS until that time. And it certainly raised a lot of money that year, but they'll spend the rest of their life going to different agencies. Okay, we need another ice bucket challenge. You can't have it. That was a one-off wonder. But I do think things like sleeping out in the street, the other pushback, Michael, came back is people going, what? All the money's going to the bureaucrats, administration, running it. I want to see my dollars go to work. So the other thing I would say is be a lot more transparent and say, for the dollars that you give, you know, here's a well that's being built at this moment in this part of Africa that you can see on the web with your donations.
You brought up an interesting point about Movember, because it is not about the charity, it is about us and our participation in it. Because I think almost every one of us knows someone who had been touched by that.
Yeah, and I think when you have a personal connection, I think this is why sick kids and cancer do quite well, because you're attached to either your children, and you say, I can't imagine my child going through that, or if somebody in your life has experienced some form of cancer. So I get that. And when you walk for the cure, run for the cure, and you have their person's name on your chest, again, you're personally vested in it. But I think it's happening right now with charity. It's just so much noise out there. There's so many asks. Everybody's trying to build foundations and put their names on walls and stuff. And I think we got to get back to a much simpler narrative. I always call it head, heart, and hands. I get it. I feel it. I want to find a way to be part of it.
Tell me about the hand side of it, because as remarkable as it is that you tell me you slept on the street, I'm not going to be sleeping on the street.
You do it once, and I think you would be, even if you only do it once, and there's about 100 people that'll do it and raise a lot of money. I've did it 2 years in a row. You'll come out of it realizing what it's like to spend one night on the street, and next time you see homeless, you look at them a different way.
I suppose then what that means is you then take that story and you tell two friends and they tell two friends and so on.
And it gets socialized. And again, especially with the millennials, I'm part of a charity called Global Citizens. They don't want $1 from you or $1 from you. They want you to activate and force politicians. You want my vote? Do what matters, eradicate poverty. And they try to get their amplification power of social media pushing governments in the right direction. So that's another good tactic.
You mentioned Instagram. How do you make this more than just lip service to any given charity?
Well, it's tough because you're not a charity. You're dealing with people that are suffering. And to have an Instagram moment sometimes will look very slippery, but I think if you find a way to say, I'm part of this. I went into the hospital ward. I saw here's a picture of me with the old x-ray machine, or something that you connect to, that people go, I'm attached to it. Michael buys into it. I don't buy into marketing, but I buy into Michael. So if you come to me and say, this is a good cause, I was part of it, I'd go, I want to listen a little bit more, because you're making it about me and you versus some kind of vague charity where people are thinking, a lot of fat cats are running around making money. My dollars, I don't know where they're going. I don't know if they have any purpose.
And that's the cause and effect.
Thanks for having me.